Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the True Path Entrepreneur, your guide to living your purpose and growing a business you love with freedom and fun. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a transformational business coach helping current and aspiring entrepreneurs align with their purpose to grow their business, help more people, and have a thriving business working from anywhere on earth on their own terms. And today, I'm really happy to be talking to the world leading, what I think of as the world's leading tapping expert. And if you don't know what tapping is, you're going to learn, and you're going to learn how this is great for your life. And today I'm talking to Brad Yates. Hey, Brad, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Beth, happy to be here.
Great. So Brad is known internationally for his creative and often humorous use of emotional freedom techniques, which is also called EFT, and I call it tapping. And Brad is the author of the best-selling children's book, The Wizard's Wish, the co-author of the bestseller Freedom at Your Fingertips, and a featured expert in the film The Tapping Solution. He's also been a presenter at a number of events, including Jack Canfield's Breakthrough to Success, has done teleseminars with the Secret Stars Bob Doyle and Dr. Joe Vitale, and has been heard internationally on a number of internet radio talk shows. Brad also has well over 750 videos on YouTube that have been viewed over 21 million times. And you can find more info about him and all his work at tapwithbrad.com. And Brad, I'm smiling because we were just chatting before this about tapping, and I'll be the first to admit, I've known about tapping for, I don't know, probably over 10 years. And, of course, I've had multiple people tell me to do it. And I go through these phases where I do it. I actually was just doing it last week, but then I can't seem to keep it up. But can you tell people, how did you discover tapping, and how has it benefited you, and how did you make a whole career out of this?
Yeah. How does a grown man find himself tapping on his face for a living?
Yeah.
Well, I knew from a young age this is what I wanted to do. I had actually started out as an actor. I'm not a doctor, but I played one on TV. And had traveled the world doing theater, but when I was in Hollywood trying to make it as a movie star, I fell in love, got married. And when our first child was on the way, I decided, I should probably have a backup career, and trained to become a hypnotherapist. And through hypnotherapy, I found out about EFT and discovered that this was really my calling, doing personal development work. As much as I loved acting, this was much more fulfilling. So I made the transfer and started using this. And then YouTube came along, and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was a tapping video people could use to start their day? And I shot Tap of the Morning, expecting that to be the only video I would ever do. And then I came up with another idea a few months later, and then another idea now. Actually, there's close to 800 videos up there now. So wow. It's when I first learned tapping, it was just a remarkable thing from having been a hypnotherapist and then discovering this simple process based on acupuncture for clearing out stress, clearing out blocked feelings. And, that stress is what comes up when we experience something we find threatening, like change. And this is why we resist things that we know benefit us. I like to say that self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love. So if we don't feel that it's safe to make a change in our lives, if we don't feel it's safe to make more money or be healthier or be in a relationship or whatever it might be, then when we start to move towards those things, we start to feel stress. And everything says, okay, just stop doing it. Oh, hey, tapping is really beneficial for me. It feels really good. This could really help me have a breakthrough in my life. I better knock this off right now. So
wow.
That's why we stop ourselves from doing it sometimes.
Yeah, like me, I'll be the first to admit I do, daily exercise, daily meditation. I do all the, self-care and, everything that you're supposed to do. But for some reason there's always more, and I need to add on more. And I know this works. I've done it, and I've had it. It's proven itself. But you actually said something I've always wondered how it really works. It seems a little like woo-woo to be tapping on your forehead and asking for money, and but you mentioned acupuncture points. Yeah. Is that so? It's actually like a physical, energetic connection.
Yeah. So when EFT was discovered, first called thought field therapy by the guy who discovered it, Roger Callahan, it was based on acupuncture. So for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they've said there's this flow of energy through the body along these pathways called meridians. And when the energy is stuck, we don't feel so good. We don't make good choices. And in traditional acupuncture, the doctor would stick needles in these same points to stimulate the healthy flow of energy. And we're just using our fingertips to tap along and stimulate those energy points and get the energy flowing. We think more clearly, we make better choices. And we also have modern research showing that it dramatically lowers stress. So when we get stressed out, when the amygdala in our brain recognizes a threat, puts us into fight or flight. So one of the hormones that's released is cortisol. So in one study, they did a double-blind study, and the group doing the tapping, their cortisol levels dropped by an average of 24%, some as much as 50%. Which was staggering enough that the lab technicians threw out the first batch of results because they thought there must have been a mistake, that can't happen. Ran it again. So if you look at it from, when you figure that most, if not all of our issues, physical and emotional, are either caused by or worsened by stress, then to have a tool like this that can so dramatically and so simply reduce stress, if you thought of tapping as nothing more than stress relief, it's kind of a no-brainer. And it's funny, I was saying to my wife the other day, because we use this term woo-woo, to do a process that lowers your stress is not woo-woo. Now, some of the things that I will say in some of my tapping rounds, when I start to talk about law of attraction or spirit or things like that, for some people, they might say, well, that's kind of woo-woo. But doing this is no more woo-woo than, say, doing the Heimlich maneuver or scratching an itch.
Yeah,
it's just using a physical process, or just stretching to get tension out of your body. It's only woo-woo because it's new to most of us.
Yeah. I love throwing around the term woo-woo because I'm always, I make jokes and I laugh at myself because to me it's more than 50% woo-woo. I mean, it's the energy work is everything, the inner work, the stress relief. And actually, I love that you mentioned cortisol because I've literally proven to myself that when I'm super stressed out, like I've, run multiple businesses and, every entrepreneur watching knows that this is not the easiest journey. It can be very stressful. It can be very triggering, but the more cortisol we produce and the more we're in that fight or flight, the less effective we are and the less results we get and the less productive. And I've made jokes that I literally gain weight overnight. When I know by feeling my love handles, I know that my cortisol is high. And that's usually when I know I'm misaligned. And to start taking it down a notch, meditate more, do less work, and really do more of this kind of self-care. And that was actually going to be my next question. So, most of the viewers either have a business or they want a business or they're struggling in some way around their work and their career. And we all know that work makes up a huge part of our life. Obviously, this is, part of the journey. So, how can tapping then benefit, especially these entrepreneurs who are always riding this roller coaster of, fear and love, up and down, scared and, scarcity and abundance. And I know, I love this idea of like tapping for wealth, tapping for abundance. Tell us, like, how can this be used?
Well, so when you look at the idea that we get stressed when we're facing change, because our mind is designed to, our brain is designed to want to keep things the same because it's easy. We, even if our lives are crap, it's our crap and we know where it goes. We know how to handle it. So new stuff, having to handle new stuff, like, we have a lot of beliefs about money, and consciously we may think, wow, money would be so awesome. The more money I have, the more stuff I can have. Part of our brain goes, yeah, it is a pain to have more stuff. It is a pain to have to deal with higher taxes. It is a pain to have to deal with finding a place to put all that new stuff. You go out and buy that new whatever gadget, you're going to have to find a place to put it because otherwise it's going to pile up in your living room. Our brain is going through all these things and says, look, you can think about it, you can fantasize about it. We're just going to make sure it doesn't happen. We're going to keep you safe. So that's why I say self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love. We brilliantly protect ourselves from something that doesn't feel safe. And so when we are looking at something that doesn't feel safe, again, the brain goes into fight or flight. The prefrontal cortex, the most modern part of our brain where we do our creative, clever thinking, goes offline. So that's why we don't think so clear when we're stressed out. And then when we start to calm down again, the tapping is what really helps us calm down. Prefrontal cortex comes back online. We start to think more clearly. We make better choices.
Wow.
So what we want to do is then look at where those fears might be about the business. Why am I afraid of having more success? What am I afraid would happen? Why am I afraid of talking to people? All these different things that generally we don't allow ourselves to look at. Because it's like, well, if I allowed myself to look at it, I might change it. Then I have to deal with change. So we block that. It's like we could be in the grocery store and see somebody who, if we wanted to start dating, we see someone who's attractive and our brain goes, oh, look, there's a sale in aisle 2, like that. And we're not even consciously aware that it's happened. But part of this is like, whew, dodge that bullet based on old beliefs about why a relationship would be dangerous. So as much as we think we want more success and more money, most of us have a ton of baggage about how success and money are painful and dangerous and we're undeserving of it or whatever. So throughout the day, we're doing that, sale in aisle 2, that distraction thing. We find ourselves binge watching TV or whatever it might be. We find brilliant ways to distract ourselves from doing something that would bring about change. Even if we consciously believe the change would be wonderful, part of this says no change is wonderful. Any change is bad. We need to make sure it doesn't happen. So having a tool to break down the stress while we look at that stuff allows us to go, oh, where did I get that belief? Oh, I don't need to hang on to that. Oh, I can let that go. And success starts to flow in much more naturally.
This is so, I'm sitting here going like, wow, this is all so true, because I keep experiencing this as an entrepreneur. I've experienced it at all levels. And of course it keeps going where it's like, I think of it as climbing a mountain. You reach a step and you're about to expand and it's scary. It's new, it's change, even if it's positive, welcoming in abundance or stepping into your true purpose or leaving your former career to start a business. It's scary as hell. And it's major change, but there is a way to get through it, and life just gets better and better, even if it's more challenging. Yep. But you're right. This is, it's like fighting ourselves is the biggest, I was just saying to another expert I interviewed, it's like you could do all the marketing in the world, but if you haven't done this inner work on yourself, you're never going to break through these next levels. So
it's like imagining that you're standing there in the street and an armored truck filled with money is coming towards you. And part of the brain says, I'm about to get run over, and knocks us into the gutter as the truck goes by. And we're sitting there going, what the heck happened? And that part of us that knocked us over is like, I just saved your life. You were about to have all that abundance that could have killed you. So rather than beating ourselves up, because that's what we do. We beat ourselves up when we don't make the phone call or we drop the ball on some project, when in fact we are brilliantly protecting ourselves based on old misinformation. And actually the beating ourselves up is brilliant too, because the more time I spend beating myself up, the less time I have to take action on those projects. So again, I'm still sabotaging myself, which is all brilliant, but misguided. And we want to knock that stuff off.
Wow. This sounds like, because this is again, like me as an entrepreneur, I've gotten better at this throughout the years. Like I just cut things, because I agree. It's like, usually when I notice myself judging or beating myself up, I just stop because it's a waste of my time. I don't even have the energy for that anymore. But back, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would do it all the time and it would get in the way of being productive. So does this mean someone like me 7 years ago would have to tap myself all day long? Or could I just do it once a day and I'm set? Is it because I meditate every morning, and to me that's a huge, it's gotten me through a lot. But would I have to be constantly tapping to get through my day to day?
Well, there's no have tos.
Yeah.
It's, I recommend tapping on a daily basis because it's energy hygiene. Stress is happening, whether we like it or not, and whether we acknowledge it or not. And most of the time we don't acknowledge it, and it builds on top of each other. Just like dirt, we're out in the world, stuff is happening, and eventually, and so rather than waiting until it all piles up until people are holding their nose around us, we take a shower on a daily basis to, just maintain our hygiene. So this is maintain our energy hygiene. Sometimes we need to take a longer shower. Sometimes we may need to tap a little bit longer. but at least a little bit every day is a good idea. So, so why don't we take folks through an example of it, shall we?
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to think about what you were trying to create. You know, the business that you want. Imagine yourself having the business you want, having the success you want, and visualizing whatever might come up around that. Maybe it's looking at your online bank statements. Maybe it's seeing yourself doing what you do. And recognize how much of a change that is from where you're at right now. And say, it's safe for me to make this change. And just let yourself be aware of what goes on inside. Notice on a scale of 0 to 10, how much tension might come up. And don't judge yourself if a lot comes up. Just recognize, oh, that's why I'm brilliantly stopping myself from doing this. Notice what thoughts, beliefs, and memories might come up as to why it's not safe. Notice what you feel physically, what you feel emotionally. And if part of you says there's no discomfort there whatsoever, I'm going to suggest that maybe you're kidding yourself, unless you're actually already doing everything you could be doing and you're already achieving everything you want to achieve. If that's not the case, then there's some fear and resistance in there. So open your eyes and just do what I do. So I'll say certain phrases, and Beth, if you'll be my echo voice and repeat back what I say. Mm-hmm. And then everyone else just tap where I tap and repeat back what I say along with Beth. So right here on the side of the hand. Even though part of me is afraid of change.
Even though part of me is afraid of change.
I choose to love and accept myself.
I choose to love and accept myself.
Even though part of me is afraid of change.
Even though part of me is afraid of change.
I choose to love and honor myself.
I choose to love and honor myself.
Even though part of me is afraid of change.
Even though part of me is afraid of change.
Because even if I think that the stuff I want would be wonderful.
That the stuff I want would be wonderful.
Another part of me says. Yeah, but it's still change.
Yeah, but it's still change.
And change is difficult.
And change is difficult.
And I avoid that.
And
even though part of me is afraid of change. I choose to deeply and completely. Love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else involved in this fear.
And may anyone else, wait, what was this?
And maybe anyone else involved in this fear.
Maybe anybody else involved in this fear.
Tapping right here at the beginning of your eyebrow. All this fear of change.
All this fear of change.
Corner of the eye. All this fear of change.
All this fear of change.
Under the eye. All this fear of things being different.
All this fear of things being different.
Right under the nose. I like the idea of having more money.
I like the idea of having more money.
Just above the chin. I like the idea of having more success.
I like the idea of having more success.
And right here where your collarbones come together, you just make a fist there. Part of me is excited about all that stuff.
Part of me is excited about all that stuff.
Right about 4 inches below your armpit. Try to about bra strap level, and I'm sure even the guys can find that. Even though part of me is excited about this.
Even though part of me is excited about this.
Just around the top of the head. Another part of me says.
Another part of me says.
Yeah, but it would be different.
Yeah, but it would be different.
It would be change.
It would be change.
I'm just finally getting the hang of what I already have.
I'm just finally getting the hang of what I already have.
And now you want me to have more?
And now you want me to have more?
That seems really difficult.
That seems really difficult.
It even seems scary.
It even seems scary.
So while I'm consciously excited. I'm unconsciously terrified.
I'm unconsciously terrified.
And I'm programmed to keep myself safe. So I find brilliant ways to distract myself. Brilliant ways to stop myself. Like if I find a tool that works, like tapping. I'll find a way to not do it. I find all these ways to stop my success.
I find all these ways to stop my success.
And it's not because I'm bad or stupid.
And it's not because I'm bad or stupid.
Even when I get distracted or spend my time doing useless stuff,
even when I get distracted and spend my time doing useless stuff,
it's not because I'm weak or lazy.
It's not because I'm weak or lazy.
It's because I'm brilliantly protecting myself from change.
It's because I'm brilliantly protecting myself from change.
And I love and appreciate that about myself.
And I love and appreciate that about myself.
But this fear is based on misunderstandings.
But this fear is based on misunderstandings.
And I choose to clear the fear.
And I choose to clear the fear.
Clearing the stress.
Clearing the stress.
I choose to have more confidence.
I choose to have more confidence.
That I can handle the change.
That I can handle the change.
I will figure out how to handle more success.
I will figure out how to handle more success.
I will figure out how to handle more money.
I will figure out how to handle more money.
And it might be challenging at times.
And it might be challenging at times.
But I've handled everything that's happened in my life so far.
But I've handled everything that's happened in my life so far.
Maybe not always as gracefully as I would have liked.
Maybe not always as gracefully as I would have liked.
But I've always handled it.
But I've always handled it.
I choose to know that I can handle change.
I choose to know that I can handle change.
So I'm setting myself free to do so.
So I'm setting myself free to do so.
In body, mind, and spirit.
In body, mind, and spirit.
And take a deep breath. Close your eyes, go back inside, and again, imagine what you want. And again, say, it's safe to have this.
It's safe to have this.
And again, rate that on a scale of 0 to 10, and hopefully that number has come up. For most folks, it'll come up. Sometimes it goes way up. Sometimes it's in increments. Sometimes it might stay the same, but you might have more awareness of, oh my goodness, now I know what's stopping me. Because when we're tapping, as we're clearing out the stress and the fears, it's like peeling the layers of an onion, and we start to have more awareness. It's like, oh, I remember this thing that happened in the 5th grade when I won a prize and my best friend didn't talk to me for 2 weeks, and I decided success was a bad idea. I would lose my friends. And you get clear on things that, if someone said, well, are you afraid that with success you'd lose your friends? You'd say, oh, that's ridiculous. But inside it's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what would happen. It happened to me in the 5th grade. So as we allow ourselves to be aware of that, and we can clear that away and go, oh, that was a misunderstanding. And you know what? We got over it. We were friends again and all this stuff. And then we have that freedom to do those things that you can do to create the success you want.
Wow, this is incredible, because I actually felt the difference. Because I thought about what it is that I want, and I know I'm going to get there, but it's a huge, it's a huge leap. It's a big jump, and I've been feeling it for a while. Like, oh, it's a little scary because I've just never been there before. But then I know I can handle it because I've always just kept growing. But I could feel the energetic difference. Like, I think before I was at maybe a 7, and then at the end I was more at like this 10, where I was like, yes, like bring it, I'm ready.
Excellent. Excellent. And
You
then things can happen so much more easily as we go through that. And what you just brought up is one of the beliefs that often happens is, I haven't done it before. So, I haven't been a millionaire before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there was a time when you weren't able to walk before either. Somehow you figured it out. In fact, today there are dozens of things that you're doing that there was something that you couldn't do at some point, or that you hadn't done at some point. Like watching a video interview.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is incredible. Now, I definitely see how this can help people. I was just talking to someone earlier about how meditation is one of the first things I prescribed as part of my business coaching program. And it's like, okay, it seems so counterintuitive. People just want like marketing and email and growth. And I'm like, no, you know what? Like this kind of work is so important.
The inner game is so important.
Yeah. And everybody's so stuck in fear. This is actually, most of the people watching this are stuck in fear in some form or manner, whether it's fear of leaving their job, or fear of growing to the next level, or fear of even doing like their first Facebook Live video. Yeah. Now, I'm curious, you've turned this into a really big business. Like, you go all over the world and talk, and, but what else, how else do you help people? Is it that you do like online tapping? Is it, I know there's a book, and, how does this turn into a business? It's amazing. I love it.
How do you make money when all of your videos on YouTube are free?
Oh.
And there's, it's like they say, multiple streams of income. So I have online products. I have one-on-one coaching. I do live events. So there's all kinds of ways. And that's the thing is, we'll often think, well, I don't know what else I could do to make money. I can't see how the money can come. Because you're brilliantly stopping yourself from seeing how the money can come. As you clear the resistance to money, it's like, oh, hey, I could do that. Or, oh, there's another opportunity. Somebody shows up who says, hey, I've got an idea for you. And we weren't able to see that person before because we still had resistance. And that resistance breaks down over time. Just like you said, 7 years ago, there was a lot more resistance. And it's come down. And nothing's so good that it can't get better. So we can always look at, okay, now what else might I be resisting, and keep clearing that stuff out and allowing ourselves to, find what else we can do, how else we can share our gifts and talents, make a bigger difference, and allow ourselves to be rewarded as well.
Yeah, no, this is incredible. And now one really quick question before, we go into your free gift. I'm curious, do you have one story of like a crazy tapping manifestation where someone, I don't know, cured cancer through tapping or manifested $1 million the next day, or, one wild story?
It's great because I'll get on YouTube comments. People will write in and say, like on a relationship one, oh my goodness, I did this. And the next day I met my boyfriend, or now my husband, And I had a client who used to, she'd call up every so often and say, okay, I need another session because my staff all says, okay, it's time for you to do another session with Brad, because when you work with him, we all make more money. So,
wow.
There's been all kinds of interesting things that don't seem like logical shift, but it's just a matter of, there's so much abundance and so much good in the universe for us, and we're resisting it, not because we're bad or stupid. We're not in fear because we're bad or stupid, but because we have all of this programming telling us that's appropriate. Most of us are taught from fear. The people around us, our parents, teachers, friends, like, this is what you need to be afraid of, and that's what you need to be afraid of.
Yep.
And they were doing the best they could. We did the best we could in taking that in. And it's now allowing ourselves permission to say, let me see if there's another way.
Yeah.
Because there's other people allowing a lot more good into their lives than I am. There are people having success that I could have. And then giving ourselves the freedom to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I mean, I'm a firm believer in we're only getting in our own ways. And every time I make a personal breakthrough, it's like more abundance, more love, more success, more everything just flows great.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to implement tapping to see if I can cut back on the amount of chocolate I eat. Because I eat healthy chocolate. I love chocolate. It's okay to eat chocolate, but I sometimes think it's one of my biggest addictions. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe tapping could help me.
Chocolate is actually what sold me on tapping, because it was the first workshop that I went to when I was introduced to tapping. And Gary Craig, the founder of EFT, gave everyone Hershey's Kisses and said, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you want this? And I was about an 8 or a 9. I was a chocoholic at the time. And after just a few moments of tapping, I couldn't eat it.
Wow.
In fact, I did not eat chocolate for 2 years after that. Now, I'll occasionally go back and I'll have chocolate sometimes, and then I'll just go off it. And it can be sitting there and I won't feel temptation until I go, okay, now I'd like to have some. And, I'll have some chocolate for a while, and then I'll go, okay, I'm done. And
yeah.
And so I have control over it. But so I know it works on chocolate because that's how I'm here today, tapping.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now tell people a little bit more about your free gift that's in today's email. If they click the link, they'll get it. It's Tapping into Abundance.
Yeah. So this is an hour-long teleseminar that I did where I took several people through this process of tapping on some of the things that were specifically stopping them from getting what they want. So the great thing is you can tap along with the audio, and one of two things will happen. You'll listen and say, oh my goodness, that totally resonates with me. That's my block. And now I'm clearing it. Or you'll listen and say, that doesn't resonate with me at all. But still, while you're tapping along, your brain will make associations. And even just the tapping sequence will lower stress. So it's beneficial no matter what. And it may be clearing things that you're not even consciously aware of, but you're still just letting stuff go, allowing yourself to feel better. And you don't even have to, you don't have to say the same words, but even if you do, you won't take on someone else's issue. Trust me, I've been doing this for, many years now, and I have said things that what my client's issue is, I've never taken on their issue, because the process of tapping is cleaning stuff out.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
you just get better and better.
This is really incredible. This has been really fun. I could talk to you for so long about this, because I love all the energy work, and I love this inner work, and I think it's so important. But this has been really good, Brad. Thank you so much for joining us. And everybody can get your free gift in today's email. Brad's website is there. You can find him on YouTube. And hey, it's all these great resources, tapping videos. And thank you so much for being with us today, Brad.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. And thanks to everyone who's willing to try this process that, if it's new to you, might look a little strange, but it'll help you not only allow more, but also share more of who you are. So thanks for doing that.
Very important. Thanks so much. And catch us tomorrow on The True Path Entrepreneur for more interviews. Bye.